How can you reduce child support payments? My name is Goldman. I'm the director and founder of Goldman and Associates. Our firm has a primary focus on family law issues here in Michigan. And today we're going to continue our video series designed to educate and inform the public, so please subscribe to our channel. How do you reduce your child support? Well, first you got to understand the basis. What's the general formula of child support? Well, the court's going to look at a couple things. Number one, they're going to look at the incomes of the parties. How much money does mom make? How much money does dad make? That's going to be part of it. Number two, how many kids do we have? In other words, we're supporting these kids. We're supporting them with the income. How many ways do we have to divide up the pie? And number three, and this is very important, how many overnights do the kids spend with dad? How many overnights do the kids spend with mom? That becomes very important. So when they do the child support formula, these are the things that they're looking at. So if you're saying to yourself, well, gee, how do I save money as a father? Let's say I'm in a position where I'm being asked to pay child support. How do I cut it down? Well, I'll tell you how to cut it down. Number one, make sure that the numbers upon which the child support is based for income are accurate. A lot of times when the child support papers are filed, somebody's estimating somebody's income. The estimate may be, unduly high. It may be unrealistically high. Maybe you made that money 1 year because of a bonus, but last year you didn't make that amount of money. You've got to make sure that the numbers are accurate. And number two, and this is the key, spend more overnights with your kid. If you have more overnights with your kid, the number is going to go down. Now, does it save you dollar per dollar? Well, I wouldn't say that, because after all, if you know how it is, especially if your kids are teenagers, if the kids are spending more time with you, guess what goes up? Consumption. Your expenditures go up, but your support will go down to appropriately reflect that, and that becomes very, very important. Now, sometimes a person emerges from a divorce with a child support figure, and a year down the road, that figure doesn't make any sense. Why doesn't it make any sense? I'll tell you why. Maybe it was based on the fact that you're seeing the child only on weekends, and during the last year, mom's been off and you've had the kid 4 or 5 nights a week. It wouldn't make sense if you're having the child overnight 4 or 5 nights a week that your support should be based on mom having 5 overnights and you having 2. So maybe that has to be modified, or maybe it was based on unrealistically high income for you or unrealistically low income for her. Maybe that's what it was based on. So if that's the case, you need to have your lawyer file an appropriate petition to modify the child support based on the change. After all, the court makes these orders based on the circumstances before it. If those circumstances materially change, the court has the discretion, and in fact should use that discretion to appropriately modify the numbers so that they make sense. Now, if you want to negotiate your guidelines, if you want to negotiate the child support guidelines, can you do it? I mean, after all, there's support. There's a Michigan child support formula. You run the formula, you see what the numbers are. That would suggest that maybe there is no room for negotiation. But there is a little bit. There is a little bit in that you can always say, well, look, I know these are what the numbers show. However, we should have a downward deviation because I provide this, or I provide that, or I pay for the kids' recreation, or I pay for these other things. And you can negotiate a lower number. But here's a tip for people who are paying support. Let's say it's dads. If you're getting a roadblock, because you're providing all these things, you're contributing to hockey and horseback riding and archery and all these extracurricular activities, and you're still paying the same support and you're not getting any help, stop paying the extras and rely just on the support. Because at the end of the day, the court will say to the mother, if she files a petition, say, look, you guys had all these things going on at the time that you were a joint household. Now, you're spending more as separate households, and this is the support guidelines, and what he's paying is consistent with the guidelines. You want your kids to do more? Good, you pay for it. If he can agree, great. But if he can't, that's not going to be part of the guidelines, and that's what will happen. Now, every case is different. You have a question about yours, reach out, and we'll be glad to help you out.